Hi everyone, I'd like to welcome you to a special video hiking report as I'm hiking to Coyote BM, that's Benchmark Peak in the Grapevine Mountains of Death Valley. And it is June 14th, 2019. I'm showing you a picture as I'm approaching on the road, on Phinney Canyon Road, approaching Coyote BM, a camping area for that. Coyote BM can be seen in the center of this picture, I believe, or this video, and very beautiful. Here we are in mid-June and it's about 70 degrees out, a little breeze, very beautiful temperatures despite being around 115 in Furnace Creek today. So let me just show you a little of the scenery. It's a very beautiful area just before Phinney Canyon Road drops into the wash of Phinney Canyon. And really nice scenery. No people out here at all, no surprise. See if I can zoom in a little bit there, show the summit I'll be hiking to tomorrow morning. Okay, time to head to camp. I'm at camp now up on Phinney Canyon Road, and I'll show you more of camp in the morning, but I just wanted to let you listen to the sounds up here. The beautiful sounds, the peace and quiet. So give a listen. Good morning everyone. It is 5:30 in the morning on Saturday, June 15th, 2019. I'm here at camp in the Grapevine Mountains up Phinney Canyon. I want to show you what camp looks like here at sunrise. Beautiful trees everywhere. And that is Wagaihi Peak visible from camp. Time to pack up and start today's hike to Coyote BM. So it's now about 6:30 in the morning. I'm getting ready to start the hike to Coyote BM. And it is a little windy here today, which is going to be nice because it'll probably be a warm day around 80 degrees out, maybe a little hotter, maybe like 85 at max. But I'm doing a video hiking report in addition to my regular, just to make things a little interesting because I'm on a solo hike, which I don't do too many solo hikes in Death Valley anymore. But being that I'm on one, I thought it might be fun for you to see some video footage of the hikes as I go through it. Okay, hope you enjoy it. So this wilderness restoration sign marks the trailhead or beginning of the hike, as the first portion of the hike is actually along an old closed mining road that heads toward the base of Coyote BM. So you can see I came down Phinney Canyon Road right there. Camp was up there about 1,000 feet in elevation higher than where I'm standing now. And so the trailhead here is at 5,750 feet in elevation, and I'm going to be gaining about 2,750 feet because the summit of Coyote BM is at 8,570 feet, and that's actually only 58 feet lower than Wagaihi Peak and only 168 feet lower than Grapevine Peak. So this is a pretty high summit. So I've climbed to the top of the first little rise, and now I can see the Coyote BM ridgeline in full. Try to zoom in here. So starting on the right side, I'll have to hike along that ridge all the way to the summit, which is on the left side. Some interesting views here. This is looking towards Wagaihi Peak, which has the famous cone-shaped summit. You can see it up there in the background. Over here, looking up this way, I believe we're looking at Grapevine Peak. very unique angle of the summit from this basin. Then of course Coyote, where we're heading. And actually this way you can see Vine BM summit. I'm currently hiking up this wash for about 2.5 miles until I begin my Ridgeline ascent. Finally picked up the old road again. I lost it there for a while. Birds all over the place flying along the hike with me. I've now reached the junction in the two washes, and I'm following this wash up toward the beginning of my climb. There's a lot of bush dodging necessary in the first 2.5 miles of this hike. I'm actually going to go ahead and begin my ridge climb here. So I'm going to start by going up this little bank and then try to get to the spot there in the middle of the picture on the ridge closer to me. As it gets warmer out, it's really starting to warm up. The shade from these trees on this hike is going to be critical. And fortunately, there are a lot of trees along the route, so plenty of shade. So I'm standing on the bump marked on the topo map, 6717, and I'm just kind of showing you a panoramic view. I'm about 1,850 feet from the summit in elevation gain. This shows the next area. I'm going to drop down just slightly and then begin climbing the next ridge toward that rock outcropping. And then up there you can see the summit in the valley below. In the bottom center there you can see the bump I was just on, and now climbed up by that rock outcropping, and now this is looking ahead, the next section. That's the summit on the left, but you actually go right. So I'm going to try to climb to that top point seen on the right and then see what the views are from there. Navigating through these rock outcroppings right now, it's not too bad. Working my way through here. Just taking a nice rest under a pinyon pine. So I climbed up to the next bump, and I have about 1,100 feet in elevation to go to make it to the summit. Challenging to work around. Continuing to head towards the outcropping, which is right here. This giant block of rock. It's like I'll work around it to the right. I successfully navigated around the giant block of rock. Take a look at this. Quite impressive. Great view as I continue gaining elevation. That's Grapevine Peak on the right. Looking down towards that giant block of rock. And the ridgeline I climbed up. I've reached the next bump and the summit is starting to look very close. It is still about 600 feet in elevation further. So first I have to go to this little bump right here and then on up to the summit. And we'll see if that's the summit right there or if it's a little further set back. So you can see the summit behind me of Coyote BM. It looks like I have about 500 feet of elevation gain left to reach the summit, including what looks like possibly a scree climb towards the end. That's pretty steep, so we'll see. That could be very challenging if true, in the spirit of Wagaihi Peak. This is the scree section, and yes, it is a little bit challenging. A lot of slipping backwards. There's a true perspective angle. And looking back at the section I just climbed up. About 250 feet in elevation from the summit. It could be at the tip right there or a little past it. Also check out the clouds. Really helping with this hike to keep it cool. Some very impressive trees as I neared the summit. Quite a lot of lupine growing towards the summit also. See all this growing here. I'm happy to report I did make it to the summit. I'm on the summit of Coyote BM right now. There is no benchmark or registry. At least I couldn't find it looking around briefly, but my topo map confirms I am on the summit. So it was quite a hike, very enjoyable, and now I get to enjoy some of the views. Starting with views, looking back towards the way I climbed up. And extending there to Wagaihi Peak. So continuing with the views from Wagaihi Peak. Distant background, I think that's Telescope Peak there. And directly below it to the right is Mount Palmer. And on the right side is Grapevine Peak. Let's see if I can zoom in a little. Okay, there's Wagaihi Peak. Moving along. Telescope Peak. Mount Palmer. And Grapevine Peak. And here are some more views to the north. Try to zoom in on some of the peaks of the Sierras. See them in the background there. Just really love these views of the three major summits of the Grapevines visible here with Telescope Peak in the background. Very impressive. Wagaihi, Palmer, and Grapevine. But now the western bump is 2 feet higher than Coyote BM, so I'm going to hike over to that and just check it out along here. You can see 8572T ahead. Looks like it's more than 2 feet higher than Coyote BM, but the map says it's not. Getting closer to 8572T. Just ahead. Made it to 8572. This is looking back at Coyote Peak, Coyote BM. And yes, it does look like it's about the same height, so 2 feet lower makes sense. Really impressive looking back at the summit from here. So I'm standing here at 8572T looking to the west. There's additional views, not seen from the other summit. See the major Grapevine peaks. Mount Whitney I can actually see in the background. And looking down, that is Backthrust Canyon. So I can now see Backthrust Canyon. And then continuing around, we can really clearly see the northern face of Grapevine Peak. And Mount Palmer is now right under Telescope Peak. And then finishing with Wagaihi. So I'm heading down from the summit now. I took a different route back, heading down a canyon wash, and I'm going to see where the old mining road ends up. That's the first mining artifact I found, a pot in the middle of nowhere. This canyon route is really helpful with shade. Lots of pine cones on the ground as well, as you can see. I'm in the forest directly below the summit block of Coyote BM. Looking up, you can see it there. Really surprised to see all these green grasses growing here. So many of these beautiful purple flowers along the way. Always growing under trees too. Back down where I first climbed the ridge earlier this morning, hiking in the main wash, 2.5 miles more to the vehicle. I actually picked up the old road and I'm following it down. Been pretty clear for a while now. Now I've been following a pretty good burrow trail. Just finishing up the hike. There's the truck. A relief to see with this intense heat. It's about 85 out, but there is a bit of a breeze. That helps. Okay, so the hike is all finished. I'm back at the truck, ready to drive out of here. Just want to say, don't attempt this hike in summer. I don't recommend doing it at this time. I did it because of my experience, but I did run out of water towards the end. I was just about totally out, but I had an ice chest of drinks waiting for me in the truck. So if anyone's going to follow in my footsteps and do this hike, please keep it to like April or May. But again, watch out for cold and watch out for heat. This is kind of a tricky area as far as when to hike it. All right, hope you enjoyed the report.